Good evening, sir.
Okay. Yeah, confirm the screen sharing, sir. Is it okay? Okay. Okay. So good evening, all. So today the topic is, innovative teaching and learning pedagogy, and especially the topic for today is, how to conduct a group discussion. So with that consideration, group discussion is considered to be one of the important parameters, in terms of evaluation patterns for all the candidates, and the students, candidate in terms of the corporate perspective and students in terms of the education institute and university perspective. So it is very, very important for the evaluation purpose, and in terms of identifying skills and talents that every, individual is having, So how to measure those skills and talents, and skills and talents is not restricted only to multidisciplinary approach. But if it talks about in terms of the technicality aspect, so if that particular candidates that we are calling, as far as for the job perspective, or even as a part of the admission perspective in our universities and institute, so we have to cross check, as far as he is capable enough or she is capable enough to carry out, the expectations of the institute, So that is where the group discussion is going to be conducted. Again, the second aspect for the group discussion is it is not restricted only for the selection perspective, but even if we have to develop certain skills and talents among the students, so on that perspective also that, group discussion is very, very important in terms of, what they have learned, what they have perceived in terms of the lectures that we have conducted, in terms of the opinion that we have to take up. Or else, if we want to make our teaching learning process to be more on concrete aspect, with the practical understanding or the topic or content that we have taken into consideration, right? So there are multiple perspective, multiple objects, and multiple utilization as far as the group discussion is concerned as a part of innovative teaching and learning pedagogy. So, if it talks about our commerce and management, institution, so we usually use this kind of tools, as far as taking the opinions of the people on certain perspective. And this opinion could be in for and against, in different domains and different areas. So even more the opinion of the people in terms of certain areas, certain domains, so you can utilize those perspective as a part of group discussion. So it is very, very important techniques for all the parameters through which we can measure, we can evaluate the people, in terms of their skills and talents. So that is where we have to utilize this group discussion perspective. So with that note, let's see this slides. Okay, so the flow of presentation for today's topic, we will begin with the, the meanings of, group discussion, in terms of different characteristics and parameters. So that is the second aspect in terms of the salient features of group discussion that we have to do. So if at all you are considering group discussion is one of the parameters, then what are the different features that we have to see as a part of group discussion? Then after looking at the features of group discussion, we have to see that, why group discussion is considered to be one of the important criteria as a part of the selection process, So group discussion is considered to be one of the important parameters as a part of the selection process. So that is where we also have to have a check on that. Then what are the process through which the group discussion can be processed, right? What are the mediums through which group discussion can be processed? That means, the problem statements, where we can conduct the group discussion and the different parameters that we need to take into consideration for efficient conduction of the group discussion, right? So the flow of group discussion that we have to discuss. Then the next topic, that we have to see is prerequisites, right? So the preconditions, pre-requirements. If at all we are planning to have a group discussion, so what are the prerequisites that we have to see as a part of group discussion? Initial parameters, initial consideration as a part of group discussion, right? So prerequisites also needs to be checked in terms of group discussion. Then we also need to have benefits, right? If somebody is considering group discussion, right? So we also have to see the benefits in terms of group discussion. So if at all we are considering group discussion as an innovative teaching learning pedagogy, so what are the benefits that we are receiving in terms of, what I can say is from the student's perspective, from the candidate perspective, for the perspective of the new learning, new aspect, new gaining, right? So that is called benefits of group discussion that we are going to receive. Then one of the important parameters that we are going to cover today is what are the reasons, for which we are conducting group discussion in all the academic institute and universities, why they are taking group discussion as one of the important parameters for the teaching learning process, right? So that is where reasons for group discussion we also need to discuss. Then do's and don'ts, right? So if at all we are conducting any group discussion, right? So there are certain do's that every candidate needs to follow, and there are certain don'ts during the process of group discussion that every candidate needs to be taken care. So these features, these things needs to be moderated by the moderators, right? And it has to be informed well in advance so that the people should have the clear-cut idea during the process that what should be done and what should not be done. So that is the clarity of the process needs to be given, so very, very important in the part of group discussion. Otherwise, the dissatisfaction among the candidates are always going to be high, right? So that is where we have to share the do's and don'ts for the group discussion. Then important methods of group discussion, right? If at all we are planning to conduct the group discussion, right? So what are the important methods that we must look forward as a part of group discussion? So that is where we have to see the different methods through which the group discussion can be processed, right? So that is called important methods for the group discussion. And finally, we have to conclude, if at all we are going for the group discussion, then what is the conclusion of it? So the definition is the first parameter that we have to see, that, the group discussion is usually a communication and interactive process that has to be conducted among the group of people or group of students, right? And if somebody is asking that what is the ideal range for conducting this group discussion, so my answer to this question is there is no ideal ideal numbers for the group discussion, but usually the group discussion can be conducted, with a minimum 5 members and maximum 15 members. But again, it is depend upon the situation and the requirements of the topic. There is no certain fixed and monotonous criteria that we require this much amount of people only. So it is all depend upon the people and depend upon the situations through which we can conduct the group discussion. The primary purpose of the group discussion is to have the exchange of ideas, to share your opinions among the people, and have a collective exploration of different aspects of the subjects, right? So the primary purpose of this particular group discussion is to have mutual exchange of idea among each other, and these idea can be shared within opinions also. So you can share your opinions, what you are thinking about the particular topic, which has been given as a part of discussion. So that is called exchange of idea and sharing the opinions. And with the collectively, you have to explore the various aspects of the subjects which has been given to you. So usually group discussions are considered to be various settings such as academic institutions. So yes, here we are answering to this question is where the group discussion process is usually, taken care, usually followed up. So group discussion process usually followed up in, academic institutions in recruitment process, right? So in academic institution in terms of, as a part of continuous evaluation process, assignment kind of things, presentations, to have in terms of, innovative idea pitching. Recruitment process, in a sense, is if any institution is looking for, hiring some people or person, right? So they also look forward for the recruitment process, and professional development programs. So if any professional development programs needs to be conducted, so as a part of, professional development activities, this idea sharing process needs to be conducted. And even if we have ample amount of applications to join this professional development program, for that also, for the scrutiny purpose, to have a selective candidates, with the consideration of limited seats. So this kind of process usually needs to be generated, and it is going to be very effective. in terms of identifying the right kind of talent for the right people at the right place and the right time, right? And that's why it is considered to be unique techniques, and it is an art to judge the people capability, right? Whether it is in terms of students or whether it is in terms of the employees, right? So it is helpful to you to identify the right kind of talents that we are looking for. So academic institutes always look forward for the multi-talent people, and the employers are always looking for the certain level of talents, in particular area or domain. So in both the cases, this technique is going to be very unique, and it is an art. So if at all you are well versed with this kind of thing, so you can better judge the people and you can have the hirings. So salient features of group discussion is, when we are planning to conduct a group discussion, so first and foremost thing is the topic and theme, right? And topic and theme should have a direct relevance with the target audience, right? So we must need to take into consideration as a part of topic or theme is concerned. So we must need to take those things into consideration, that we must provide them the topic or theme, with the consideration of the which target audience we are planning, right? I cannot give, the robotic topics to the person who is from the commerce and management, right? So that is irrelevant, right? So we also need to see that, to whom you are calling for the group discussion, and according to the people that you are planning and that you are focusing, your topic and theme needs to be decided, right? So your topic should be, first of all, it is relevant to the target audience. And secondly, group discussion should be, conducted on the relevant topic with the consideration of the current affairs, right? The topic should be most recent. It should not be outdated. And it also takes other things into consideration that, if at all we are talking about any particular topic, so we must need to ensure that people will only discuss certain topics if there is a relevance of this topic for them, right? If you are discussing certain topics which has no relevance for them, so they are not interested to discuss, right? So we must need to see that the topic should be societal concern. Society should be interested. If at all society is not interested, they will not answer. And we also consider the business scenario, right? So with business scenario you are planning, if you are going for certain target audience, are you going for perfect competition? Are you going for monopolistic competition? Right. So all these factors needs to consider with the application of SWOT analysis. So we must have to see this. So again, for those topics also, there is a group discussion, and other relevant topic which you feel that which is considered to be important in the area or topic or the domain in which you are planning to figure out. Right. So that is where the first is the topic and theme. Second important aspect that we have to see is you have to see that the moderator and facilitators, right? So we also need to ensure that the moderator and facilitator should also be available. That means to guide the session, right? You have to handle the session, right? Who will speak, when to speak, how to speak, on what topic you need to speak. Once the topic has been given, what has to be done, what has not to be done, right? So this is the work of moderator, right? So this is the work of moderator where, the moderator is working on managing overall flow of the group discussion. That means he or she needs to have the complete code of conduct, as a part of the group discussion, right? So they have to decide complete code of conduct in terms of what has to be done, what not has to be done, right? So that is called code of conduct, right? So moderator has to decide the complete code of conduct. Then third aspect is the time limit. Obviously, whenever we are conducting a group discussion, we must need to take into consideration the time frame, right? The time limit. Let's say if I'm conducting any group discussion, so I need to see that number of participation, right? Again, it is flexible decision and it is completely free-handed decision on the moderator. But on the contrary, moderator also has to see the various parameters, factors. Let's say I have 100 students or 100 employees as a part of group discussion today. And let's say if I'm conducting group discussion for 10 times, so every team size will have a 10 people, but if I see this, if I allocate 30 minutes to every team, so almost I will take 600 minutes. That is approximately 10 hours. So practically it is not viable, not feasible also, because the people who is coming since morning, they will not wait for 10 hours to, for their turn. So it is illogical, right? So it is a work of moderator that he or she will work out on this part. and they should give the appropriate time to the people. And at the same time, the person who is working in the corporate, they should not work for 10 hours, right? So that is where we have to see that number of participation. But yes, if you have 100 participants and if your group size is 20, then it is 5 groups, right? And if you are allocating 50-30 minutes, so then it is a logic, it is a legible that, you will take 150 minutes, which is approximately 2.5 and up to 3 hours, right? So within 3 hours, you will complete the process. So it is legible to call everyone on the common platform and to carry out these activities, right? So that is where you have to see the collective things, how to conclude these things, and based on that number of participants, number of time required, you will frame the team size, right? So that is where time limit needs to take into consideration with the consideration of team size and the total number of participants, right? So that is where you have to see the time limit. Then the fourth aspect is you have to see the evaluation. You must have to design the evaluation pattern. Now here, the choice is completely depend upon the institution who is conducting this group discussion as a part of their evaluation process. Let's say if I'm having, if I'm from communication agency, so I'll also see the fluency of the person, the command on the language, right? And other nouns and proverbs that he or she is using during the discussion. But if I'm from management person, right? If I'm from management institute, so I'll see the management fundamentals. Even in the management, if I'm looking for HR specialist, so I will see certain HR fundamentals in terms of job rotation, job description, in terms of, field related work. At the same time, I'll not restrict my evaluation only with the knowledge and skills, but I'll also see the other parameters in terms of behavioral aspect, in terms of their critical abilities, that is called problem solving abilities, leadership quality, who is taking the leads to start the discussion, and how he or she is starting the discussion. And during the discussion, how you are cooperating with others. Are you disobeying the rules? Are you, annoying to someone? Are you pinpointing to someone? Are you getting anger? Right. So all these things needs to be taken care in the candidates, because behavioral aspect is also very, very important. Only the theoretical and fundamental things are not going to work out, right? So that is where you have to see this evaluation pattern. And this evaluation criteria may vary depending upon the purpose of the discussion, right? As I said, every institution is having different requirements of the manpower. So depending upon their manpower requirement, they have to decide their evaluation criteria, right? So that is going to be different from every individual to every individual. Code of conduct, as I already mentioned, that is the rules and regulation that every candidate needs to follow. So we must need to ensure that the code of conduct should be properly guided, properly managed, and properly followed, right? And that's where we have to decide certain parameters in terms of code of conduct with the consideration of, the time frame, the time limit that they are taking. During the group discussion, we also need to see that the people is avoiding the interruptions in between. We should not allow much interruptions during the process, right? So that is what we have to see. And we also have to see how they are respecting the diverse opinion among the others. That means if you are saying yes and others are saying no, and if the logic are valid, right? So you must adhere to that particular opinion, and how you are treating those opinion in a positive sense. So this kind of behavioral things is also going to be measured in terms of code of conduct, right? So that is where we have to be very cautious enough in terms of sitting into the group discussion. And as a moderator, we have to evaluate those parameters in the candidates. Active participation is must. Active participation doesn't mean that we are disturbing to others, we are stealing the time of others, or we are interrupting in betweens to other, right? We must adhere to the guidelines. And as and when our turn will come as an individual opinion, so we must speak for the time limit which is allotted to us. And even during the discussion, we must need to wait for the completion of the other's opinion. Until the time, we should not intervene in between, so that is where active participation needs to be ensured. Decision making. So sometimes the group may be required to reach at a census or make decisions collectively. So sometimes decision making needs to be taken. And the ability to work towards a common understanding or resolution is considered to be key aspect of group discussion, So how you're managing among each other with the understanding and resolution is considered to be the major success part of the individual part, right? So that is where decision making needs to be taken care. We have to see important criteria in terms of why GD is an important criteria for the selection process. So the first is It provides a wide understanding of the topic. That is why it is considered to be one of the important aspects, right? So it has a different opinion from the different people on the different parameters. So yes, one brain can have a limited access of knowledge, but yes, multiple brain have multiple access of the knowledge. So with this consideration, group discussion is considered to be the wide range of understanding of the topic. Secondly, it tries to resolve the problem. If at all you have any problem, so it tries to resolve the problem. Sometimes if you feel that I don't know these things, but if you are sitting with 15 to 16 expert people in your area or domain, and you'll have a brainstorming on this particular topic with these people, so obviously you will get certain solution that you were looking for since long, right? So it also tries to resolve the problems. Third is it increase the ability of critical thinking power. So critical thinking power, in a sense, if you feel that there is a problem, you always look for the solutions, right? So when there is it has been said that when there is a problem, there is a solution. So group discussion will provide you appropriate solution for the problem that you are looking for from the discussion of the others. So that is where it is also helpful for the students' perspective also, that the students are getting multiple knowledge, multiple things about the topic which they were even not getting from the bookist knowledge, right? So they will actually try to adopt the particular topic or concept of that particular subject into live and practical aspect, right? So that is where it increase the critical thinking power, right? It helps to understand the students' thought process about specific topic. If students are not having proper understanding about specific topic, so it helps the students to improve their thought process on specific topic, right? If they were unaware about certain things, and if they are sitting into the group discussion and they are hearing for the first time, so it improves their thought process. They will at least came to know, at least they will came across that this is the things and this is how it has to be processed. It improves the listening and communication skills among the students, right? So again, it improves the listening and communication skills among the students. It boosts the moral and confidence for public speaking activities. So group discussion is also boosting the moral and confidence about public speaking activities. It helps to change the overall perspective of the students, that is attitude. So it improve your attitudes in terms of how you are molding this particular things into particular manner, right? So it also helps to improve your attitudes. So this is how the group discussion process needs to be conducted. So the first is, as a moderator, you have to announce the topic. So you'll try to announce the topic first, right? So which is called topic announcement, right? Where moderator will try to announce the topic. Second is, once the topic has been announced, you have to give some preparation time for this particular topic, where the person will given certain period of time. So this is where where the person is having individual time to speak. Let's say if you are conducting for 30 minutes for 10 to 15 people, right? So you should give at least 1 minute or 1.5 minutes for every individual to speak. So at least you will try to check all those people who have came and appeared for the group discussion, and through which you will try to differentiate between different skills and quality that every individual is having. And at least you will come across, with the interaction of each and every individual, that which quality that this particular person is having. Sometimes the knowledgeable person are, very introvert, so this is a way out to give them chance and, let them speak on the topic or the subject that they are knowing it, and through which we can have the idea about the particular skills and talent. So group discussion is having very unique and, important part as a part of selecting this particular candidate. So yes, before having the individual speaking for a particular topic, we should give at least 1 or 2 minutes to prepare important points, so that the confidence will be better in terms of immediate speaking of the topic, right? So we should give 1 or 2 minutes or up to 3 minutes preparation time. That is called the second aspect of group discussion process. Once the preparation time gets over, we should allow every individual to speak. So one by one, every individual will serve their opinion in the given time frame. Let's say it is a 30 minutes or 90 minutes. So here the people will start sharing their ideas. People will start sharing their knowledge, their prospect, their plannings, their opinion, in this time frame, right? So here the person will also learn the time management, because he or she knows that they have only 90 seconds, 90 seconds to prepare, to speak out. So they will try to note down only important points which they feel to, speak out. So they will not speak out the irrelevant or, the points which is not important for them, right? So that is where we have to see this discussion, right? So discussion, whenever the discussion start, we must need to ensure that they should have sufficient preparation time. And once the discussion gets over for every individual, then the discussion in terms of, arguments, and, it should be open platform for every participants to have a counter arguments on certain topics or in support of certain topics. So yes, this is an open platform where everyone can speak out. But during this period, right, moderator will always notice who is taking the leadership, who is having a respect with others' opinion, who is having a teamwork, right? So all those behavioral aspects, will be measured on this platform, right? That is called discussion among participants. So in the discussion starting point, the conceptual knowledge will be checked, but behavioral aspect will be checked among the second point, that is called discussion among participants, right? So not subject knowledge and behavioral aspect, both will be checked during this process. And once it has been done, the moderator will immediately announce the result, or they may take sometimes with the approval of higher management, right? So here there is no control and there is no standard theory to say that, immediately the result will be disclosed. But yes, as a moderator, the moderator can, throw some suggestions as a part of the group discussion. And as a part of this suggestion, you must carry those suggestions at your home. So as a man, if you are not selected for this particular process, or if at all as a students, if you are not getting good marks for this particular subject in this process, but at least you will have certain experience of this particular process. And most importantly, you are taking the suggestions to improvement. And so whenever you are sitting for the next time, you will always provide better than this today, right? So that is where, the continuous improvement is a part of life, and group discussion is also be the part of it, right? So it is also applied to the process of group discussion. Yes. So we must need to adhere to this particular guidelines and process, and according to that, we have to move ahead. So if at all we are considering this group discussion process, what are the prerequisites? So what are the prerequisites means pre-preparation as a part of moderator, right? So if you are planning to have a group discussion, so what are the prerequisites of group discussion? So first is the topic should be clearly defined, right? So, and this topic you should tell to the participants before coming to the group discussion. If you are not planning to allow some time for, preparation, right? But if you want to keep your topic to be confidential, right, and you are planning to invite them for the discussion on a random basis, so obviously you have to give some time for the preparation, although you are informing them the topic about the group discussion during the sitting of group discussion, right? So it is completely flexible process. It is in the hands of the moderator, but yes, if the topic has not been informed in advance before coming, so then they have to inform them right now, and they have to allow 1 or 2 minutes for the preparation. Then once the topic has been decided, selection of participants. So you also have to decide that, who all will be the part of the, part of this process. So let's say you have multiple process of selection. Let's say you have already conducted one entrance exams, already you have given some assignments to them. So you will select few people who you feel that during your teaching scheme, who will be, the best part of this group discussion. So as a teacher, you can select random basis as per your experience, or you might set out certain criteria for the selection in terms of the number of participation, their active participation during the classes, project submission, right? So depending upon the moderator, you can set out the criteria for the participants, right? And moderator and facilitator is must. If these people are not there during the group discussion, then the crowd will be out of control. And most importantly, to adhere to the rules and regulations and guidelines is very, very important for this process. So if they are not playing their role, this is going to be very difficult, right? So the moderator or facilitators has to see this very carefully, right? So moderator and facilitator roles is very, very crucial over here and important also, right? Rules and regulations, as I already mentioned, moderator and facilitators has to communicate the rules and regulation well in advance, but at least before starting the group discussion, right? So very, very important that it has to be conveyed well in advance and with the consideration of time limit also. Then predefined format. Although if you are not looking for that much, unique field of hiring talents, so you must have your predefined format which you are following from the previous activities also. But if you want to keep it confidential, then you should not have a predefined. But yes, it is in the mind, it is in your minds as a predefined. Although you are not informing to the candidate that we are going to conduct in this manner, but at least before starting the group discussion, it is the roles and responsibility of the moderator that they should inform them well in advance. That is called predefined format, right? Preparation time. So we must allow some preparation time to the people. So that preparation time should be given for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Depending upon the time frame that we have it. Let's say if we are conducting some group discussion for hiring people from management point of view, like director, executive director, right? So the candidates are very less, but although we are looking for multiple talents, multiple knowledge domains, right? So we must have to give some more times to every individual so that they can speak out and we'll come to know about that knowledge and skills, right? So depending upon on which level of talents you are hiring, and depending upon that, you will allow them some preparation time, right? So which level of hiring you are planning, and according to that, you will allow some preparation time, right? So that is where preparation time. Then respect towards the diverse opinions of others, very, very important. We should not disrespect to others. We should always respect to others in terms of, even though they have a diverse opinions from you, we should respect each opinion and all opinions who is a part of this process. At least we should not disrespect in terms of showing aggressions, showing pointers. But there is a certain way out in the group discussion, even if you want to contradict some opinion. So there is this particular, what I can say is formal way out to, counter out the arguments, right? So that is what you have to follow. That is called respect. Active participation, yes. So, even the individual opinion sharing, and during the opinions with each other, we should at least put up our opinion, and give our suggestions, So that is called active participation. Active participation doesn't mean that, since starting to end, you only speak and you are not letting others to speak, right? So this is called disrespect to others. This is called violation of the rules, right? So that is where active participation needs to understand, and according to that we have to behave. Evaluation criteria, so that has to be decided by the moderator and facilitators. As I already mentioned, that one is subject knowledge, that is where the discussion is going to be started. And when discussion is making in open forum, that is where the behavioral aspect, team management, leadership skills needs to be checked, right? So this is how the multiple parameters needs to be evaluated, identified, and according to that, the moderator has to evaluate the people, right? Whether it is students or employee, right? So evaluation criteria in terms of communication skills, vocabularies, in terms of societal aspect, technical aspect, that is subject knowledge or domain knowledge, and whatsoever other criteria that the moderator and the boss will feel as a part of the nature of industry, and according to that, the requirement of the industry, right? So that is where, we have to set out the criteria. So this is called evaluation pattern. Then we have to see the time management, right? We must adhere to the timelines which is given to us. If you are continuously speaking beyond your times, it creates a negative impressions. And if you are
Sorry to
trying to
interrupt, sir.
slow the times of
Hello.
others,
Sorry, sir. Actually, your slides are not changing.
I'm on prerequisites. Is it visible?
No, sir.
For others, please confirm. Sorry, prerequisite slides was visible to all of you?
Sir, we are showing only first slide.
Now,
No, sir.
now it is visible?
Hanji, sir.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Thank you.
Right, so feedback mechanism, time management, right? So we should not eat others' time. So we are here right now, right? We are on time management, right? So we should not eat others' time. and we should respect everyone times period, and we should restrict our opinion during this time frame. So that is called decency in the group discussion. And feedback mechanism, so it is always be taken from the participants by the moderator, because we should always look for the scope of improvement. And that means participants or students are going into multiple schools, colleges, right, where they are actively engaging themselves into multiple events. So they might experience certain group practices over there, or even employees also, they are going for multiple job options, and they are appearing to be part of group discussion. So they might have certain ideas to be taken care. So we must ask them the feedback mechanism and scope of improvement, through which we also improved our innovative teaching learning into next level in terms of modernized tools and techniques, and through which we should improve our process, right? So feedback mechanism is very, very important. And most importantly is comfortable setting. So comfortable setting, in a sense, we must need to ensure as a moderator and facilitators that the participant should not feel any discomfort, right? We must make it arrangement in a most comfortable manner in terms of decent locations. All the amenities needs to be there, all the guidelines needs to be properly informed well in advance. Time frame needs to be ensured, and evaluation pattern also, if it is possible, we should also tell them well in advance. So that is where it is called comfortable setting. So we must need to manage our setting in a comfortable mode. Benefits of group discussion. So what are the benefits of group discussion if we are conducting? So first is enhanced learning. So obviously when we are meeting to multiple peoples, we are came across with the multiple things, multiple parameters, multiple knowledge aspect. So obviously our own knowledge is always going to be enhanced, and we should brush up our things in a better way. Critical thinking. So if certain problem statement has been given and you are asked, you have been asked to think on this parameter, so that is called critical thinking. So here you are improving your critical thinking abilities also. Communication skills. So obviously you will observe someone, sometimes communications can be possible, by observing the pattern, or the mode, the things that the person is using, right? So that is where communication skills can be enhanced. You should also have the exposures to various perspectives, so if you are going to group discussion, so you might have exposures with various aspects. So we'll come across various ideas, thoughts, examples, so that is where your perspective is going to be increased and the perspective is going to be widened. Collaboration and teamwork. So obviously if you are meeting some students, or if you are going to our students are going with some participation in next universities, so they might collaborate with them, they might adopt certain good practices, they will share with us, and if we like it, we also go at there and again remonitor it, right? So this is how the collaboration and teamwork will work out, in terms of MOUs, student exchange program at the international university. So this is kind of things which is possible, if we allow and if we open our window for our students to be go and be the part of the every events, right? So that is where the benefit is going to be there. Problem solving. Obviously you will come across multiple problems, and at the same time you'll also come across multiple arguments and problem solving approaches. So obviously your problem solving skills and abilities are always going to be brushed up and enhanced. You'll also have a decision making ability in terms of how people are taking the critics, how they are handling their ideas, and how they are proving their ideas to be on a correct mode. So that is where you will have a decision making power, how to make your points to be acceptable mode, and how to make the decisions on this, right? Then if you are doing this particular process, the ultimate benefit which we are receiving is confidence building, right? So if we are doing this practices, we are actually building our own confidence in our mind, right? So we are gaining confidence, we are gaining confidence in terms of we can put ourselves to be on more concrete manner. So that is what it is called confidence building. Time management, right? We also learn how the time should be managed, how within stipulated time frame we should complete our process. So that is where it is called time management. Conflict resolution skills. So if at all during the process, if somebody is conflicting on your opinion, somebody is opposing your opinion, so how to handle those critics, how to have a solution on this part, so you will also learn how the people have handled those problems. So you'll try to learn even the new solutions also, and the way the solution has been put up, right? So that is where it is called conflict resolution skills. Knowledge sharing, so obviously multiple people have multiple perspective and all have shared on common platform. So people will have, group learning, and that is where it is a knowledge sharing process. Leadership development, so obviously if you are taking a lead out of multiple people, so actually you are developing your own leadership skills and talents through which you can put yourself to be the next level. So that is where you are enhancing your leadership skills and talents over here. You will have the networking opportunities. You will have ample amount of networking opportunities. So as I already mentioned, that if students are going into multiple universities, they have multiple networks, and same case will go with the employees also, right? So in terms of finding new jobs, better prospect, finding the multiple way outs to work, right? So that is where networking opportunities is going to be enhanced. And cultural sensitivity, most importantly, that if you are sitting with the multiple people across the globe, and if you are not aware about the culture, so you will not sensitize with those culture. But if you are the part of those particular people, so you will come across the multiple culture that every organization and every world is following. So that is where you will more sensitize in terms of following those culture, right? So you'll have more cultural sensitivity towards the people, right? So that is where the cultural sensitivity is also be the part of this group discussion process. Reasons for having GD as an innovative teaching pedagogy. So why GD is considered to be innovative teaching pedagogy, right? So first is it helps to assess the communication skills, which we have already discussed. I'll not take much time. Then observing the interpersonal skill. So how interpersonal skills and talents be the part of it. So yes, you can observe those part also. Evaluating leadership potentials among the students. It helps to identify those students who can take the lead, who can work on this particular platform, and who can share their own thoughts and knowledge among the people, right? And how they can get the works from the other, right? So sometimes we also need some, leadership students who can represent our organization and institute at the next level, right? So that is where the group discussion process is going to help out, for particular events. Let's say we have a signature event of our universities and institute. So who will be the leader, as a president or something like that. So we should have a group discussion, on all this aspect where the people have been evaluated. So teaching them the importance of teamwork and collaborative efforts, right? So group discussion always teach students in terms of how to work in team, how to respect others, how to handle critics, and how to work more in terms of mutual understanding. So that is where collaborative efforts is always going to be increased, and this is where we are working on skill development among the students, right? So these are the skills which we are, injecting into students if they are be the part of this particular innovative teaching learning pedagogy, that is group discussion. Developing problem solving and analytical thinking power. So we have already discussed making them understand diversity and inclusion. So cultural diversity and adopting nature, right? So we should not disrespect to any culture, but we should always respect to their culture sensitivity, and we should not abuse anything, rather we should avoid to talk on this point, right? Because it directly hurts to the sentiment of the people, right? So even group discussion will also teach the people how to respect the sentiments of different genre, different type of people. Time management skills, obviously we have discussed that you have to complete your portion into stipulated time periods, and we should always allow others to speak, because if critics is not there, then what to discuss and how to discuss, right? So time management is again one of the important aspect. Then we also have to teach them stress management technique and adaptive nature. Sometimes when in the group discussion, if you say something and if it has been found that in the opinion of people it is wrong, which we were not aware about it, so sometimes we put ourselves into stress that, oh, I was not aware about it. But actually we are teaching the students that, you are brushing up your knowledge, and this brush up will happen with have a mutual learning, having a group learning, and through which you can enhance your knowledge. That is why we are doing group discussion. No, if you are knowing things and you are not ready to adopt the new things, then there is no learning, right? So learning is the best part during the group discussion. That is what we have to tell to our students, and that is where we have to teach them, if at all you are wrong on some point, to how to handle this stress, and make most importantly how to adopt those stress into positive manner, right? So the more you positive attitude is having, the more adaptive nature you will create. And if the student is having more adaptive nature, the more learning could be possible with this kind of process, right? So that is where adaptive nature is one of the important aspects. Making them aware about diverse cultures, right? So different people, different culture, different language, different religions, right? So that is where, if you are be the part of group discussion, so you will have all kind of people on the common platform. Efficient in generating the information. Obviously, if you read multiple books, then also you will not get this kind of information that you are gaining in the process of group discussion, right? So you are getting the knowledge from multiple people, so you don't have to read the books, right? But you will get the opinion from the people. You just have to verify what you have heard. So that is the power of group discussion, right? And mapping the emotional intelligence of the students, very, very important. During the group discussion, we also need to see that the person who is getting more emotional, so we have to teach them, we have to treat them in a different level, and the person who is very strong in terms of emotional intelligence, right? So they have to be, given some priorities in terms of handling those tasks. Or we must, put those students who are emotionally very weak under the, mentorship of those people, right? So that is where their learning could be possible and overall development of the students could be possible. But again, to differentiate among those students, the group discussion plays a pivotal role. So do's and don'ts. So during the group discussion, do's is proper eye contact is must. If you don't have it, so it is called the shyness, nervousness, and isolated. Hello. Yeah, the slides are visible. The slides are visible, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then initiate the GD, that is nothing but the leadership who will initiate the group discussion. That is the leadership who is taking the initiation, right? Allow others to work. That is very, very important. As I already mentioned, that critique should always be there. Otherwise, what you will speak, if you only speak, the others are not interested to listen. And that shows, the disrespect to others, right? So we should not do that, right? So allow others to speak, that is reduce. Speak clearly and confidently, right? Whatever you are speaking, it should be clearly, precisely, confidently, and the language should be very proper, right? So to the point discussion, very, very important point in the group discussion is, whenever you are the part of group discussion, you must need to ensure that whatever discussion you are doing, it is to the point. It should not be beyond the point and out of the track, right? So to the point discussion is very, very important point as a part of group discussion. Positive attitude, we must carry the positive attitude, in terms of, whatever things we are acknowledging, if at all your opinion getting, criticized, and if you feel that you are wrong, so we must have the adaptive nature in terms of, we are learning new things today and we can improve in the future, right? So that is where positive attitude needs to be done. Speak sensibly. Whatever you are speaking, speak sensibly. It should not be out of the track. And most importantly, it should not be abusive and, not to be sensible, right? Which hurts the sentiments of other cultures. So we have to be very sensible. Don't criticize any religions, any caste, right? And not to abuse personally, right? So that is where you have to speak sensibly. Listen to others carefully, right? So whenever you have to oppose something or you have to support something, you should listen very carefully so that you can portray yourself to be on the right mode, right? So that is where you have to have the listening skills and ability as a part of listening others to be carefully. Modulate your volume, pitch, and tone. Very, very important that your speaking should be very proper. Your posture, your gesture, and the volume and tone should be consistent. It should not be interrupted in between. So that shows your confidence and your power of knowledge in terms of particular topic. So don't is not to allow others to speak is one of the aspect. Being shy and nervous, interrupting others in between, right? So if your turn is out, you should not interrupt others in between. Too much aggressive, you should not be too much aggressive if your opinions turns to be wrong, but you should have adaptive nature and you should avoid the angers. So this is a negative approach in terms of students perspective and employees perspective also. Changing opinion in between the group discussion. Let's say you have a two parties like for and against. So earlier you are in the for and now you are in against. So that is completely not allowed during the group discussion, and it is a crime, I can say. It shows you that you are not confident what you are saying. You are just be the part of what others are saying. So fundamentally you are not correct. Fundamentally you are not knowledgeable, because you don't know what is the topic is, you are just tracking in, in the direction where the flow is going on, right? So that shows your negative impression, right? So you should not change your opinion in between, and don't make funs of others, right? Which is not allowed, because you have to behave decently and professionally, right? So that is where, don't make the funs of others. Methods of group discussion: the first is you should give some topics to the students and as a theme, and based on that, the people will have a discussion on this part. And this kind of process is usually happen in academic, settings, in terms of assignments, recruitment process, and training programs. Case study discussion: so you give the case well in advance to the students and tell them to have a brainstorming in terms of problem solving, decision making abilities, and if some application based learning is possible, then we should identify those area of improvements. So that is where case study. Debate: so you give some topic and you have a two parties, one is for and one is against, and we'll have one by one opinions from each other, and through which you can enhance, you can identify their communication skills, critical thinking power, and their ability to defend, in terms of their own opinion, and how to handle the critics in terms of the nature, right? So that is debate. Role play: so people are forced to be the part of the character and try to understand the sentiments and emotion of that character, and through which the real time learning could be possible with the role play. So you enter into the character and try to see what is the situation if you are on that position, right? So that is where the discussion in terms of multiple roles will be there. Let's say customer, salesman, doctors, patients, so this is how it should be. Brainstorming: so give some ideas, some critical thinking, problems, and based on that, there should be a discussion, free-handed discussion among participants. That is called brainstorming. Fishbowl is again a small group of people. Usually it happens in higher authority recruitment process. So where you have to, invite few peoples, and where you are taking the opinion for that particular people for longer period of time, to have more fruitful discussion and to have better identification of all the learning and potentiality that this particular person is having. Right. So if you are working on niche area of the selection process for academic institute or for the corporate also, then fishbowl discussion is also one of the aspect. And again, the most convenient method for in terms of fishbowl to jigsaw. So, it is called the smaller version of fishbowl. So again, the group has been divided into smaller group to explore more more logical and more descriptive in terms of the topic. And once the discussion is over, you will have findings in terms of larger groups. That is where the management point of view, the topic will be discussed among people, and finally the decision would be taken up, and those decisions would be finally downloaded to the larger group of people. So sometimes we are also doing among these teachers also, we are having discussion among this topic, and once the decision has been came out in the presence of head or HOD, we will download this among the students, and we are promoting the collaboration and information sharing, right? So this is what is happening. Scenario analysis: so we are giving some scenario, hypothetical situation, and based on that, we are asking students to have a fruitful solutions on that topic with the consideration of anticipation power for the potential challenges. Interview panel discussion: so yes, the panel will be seated, and candidates will be called up one by one, and the questions will be thrown up on the topic, and the candidate has to answer. Problem centric discussion, so that is, the discussion should be based on certain areas of problems and challenges, and for that particular aspect, the evaluation can be done on various aspects like teamwork, communication, and problem solving skill. And finally, it is panel discussion, right, where the expert or individuals will sit together, will have leading panel discussion, and the format is already given in well in advance. And after this, the insight and perspective will be shared. Right. So the conclusion of this particular discussion is group discussion helps the participants to evaluate their abilities. It also helps to evaluate the traits of the participant in terms of who is initiated in terms of leadership skills, who is having better problem solving abilities if any certain problem has been arised, who is more interactive with the participants, or the colleagues among the group discussion. Right. And it is important techniques for evaluating candidates in academics as a part of innovative teaching tools. Right. So thank you so much from my side. Now I'm putting this platform open for the question answer. If at all you have any questions, you can ask. Yes, Pallavi Sahare, madam, you can ask. Any questions, any suggestions, you can. Yes, any suggestions, any questions, any discussion? Okay, no suggestions? Okay. So, Yuvraj sir, I'm done from my side. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much for inviting today. Thank you so much, all the participants, again for patient listening today. Thank you, Ajay sir, and all the organizers for arranging this 5 TB. Thank you.